What's up, buds? On this episode of the Earbuds Podcast, Fresh Drop Edition, we're going to be listening to slowthai's new album, Ugly. We're going to be giving our ratings, our review, talk about our two favorite songs. So stick around. All right.
Okay.
Now let's pretend we're laughing.
Oh! Ah!
What's up, buds? And welcome to a new episode of the Earbuds Podcast, the podcast where two friends talk about one good album for a good amount of time. This is the Fresh Drop Edition of the Earbuds Podcast, where we listen to a brand new album that just came out this week. And this week, we are listening and talking to and about slowthai's new record, Ugly.
You know, I was really hoping we would just listen to this one without any of the talking.
No talking?
Yeah.
I bet a lot of people would wish that as well, but we're not going to do that. God damn it. You're going to listen to us give our opinions. Yeah, man, we were talking like right before we started recording that neither of us really have a lot of experience with slowthai, or, you know, I only really know slowthai from his feature on the Denzel song that I thought was actually kind of a lame feature, in my opinion.
I thought it was a cool idea. I'm not sure if they pulled through with it very well on that particular song.
I feel like they underutilized slowthai for me, not even knowing slowthai's music very well. It's like all he did was the hook, and I feel like that was a weird choice. Like I feel like he could have done a lot more on that song.
He does have cool voice for it, though. I could see why they decided to do that.
And it was kind of like a very different song on that. We're talking about like Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, right? Like that one, that song that he was featured on with Denzel. And that chorus has like a really crazy kind of drum and bass techno vibe, right? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
It was like fucking, what's that beat that I always forget the name of? The break beat?
The Amen break.
Yeah, isn't that the beat during that chorus?
Yeah, it's the song. Oh my god, come on. Oh, he's right. It's like he's not. Zatoichi.
Zatoichi. That's right.
That's the song that he's on.
That's right. Yeah, and that's kind of like one of my only exposures to slowthai at this point. And you were saying that you've only really heard his features, also. Like you haven't checked out much of his own music.
I checked out Nothing Good About Britain when it came out. Or is that what it's called? I should probably double check that.
I have no idea.
Just because I heard it was something. Yeah, Nothing Great About Britain. Just because I heard it had a lot of good stuff on it.
Yeah.
I don't really remember much from it. I guess it didn't make much of an impact on me, but I have heard him featured on the Gorillaz song in Song Machine.
Right.
I don't know if you've gotten to that yet.
I've heard it a couple times. I haven't heard it recently.
And he had a feature on a Brockhampton song.
Okay.
Which I thought was a pretty cool. He basically ran the whole song.
Okay, that's cool.
Which was cool. And I liked his attitude. And apparently you said this is kind of a more punky record is what?
Apparently he's going for a pop punk or punk rock direction with this album, which is really interesting.
I'm so down for.
I'm ready to hear it, man. Like I feel like, you know, there were other albums that came out this week that we talked about potentially reviewing, like Kali Uchis.
Yeah.
Masego. We talked about Masego. We talked about what was the other one? I can't remember now. Macklemore.
Oh yeah, no, we didn't talk about Macklemore.
we mentioned that it was coming out this week, but I think we were almost going with Kali Uchis there for a while, and then we thought slowthai would at least kind of give a better conversation and maybe show us like every song might sound kind of different. Where we thought Kali Uchis, like, while we like her stuff that we've heard, felt like it might kind of be same for a whole record, and we thought like, what could we possibly say after every Kali Uchis song that hasn't been said before? You know,
Sure.
We might be wrong. Let us know if y'all have heard that album already and that we should have fucking talked about that instead of this one. But yeah, I'm excited to hear this too, man. It might be a weird introduction to slowthai, but it might be like what he's been wanting to do this whole time, you know? So who knows?
I'm super excited to get into it, man.
I'm excited too, man. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, you're not gonna hear any of our like track by track commentary, or you're not gonna hear snippets of the songs either. So if you stick around on YouTube, you're gonna get to our reviews and our ratings, and we'll kind of break down everything we liked and didn't like about the record as a whole. But if you guys want to hear the songs, or at least previews and hear our track by track reactions, go to Spotify and you'll be able to hear it on there if you search Earbuds Podcast. So with that said, man, I'm ready to get into this. The
Let's
first track is called Yum,
Yum. Let's do it, man.
and this album apparently stands for You Gotta Love Yourself. So let's see how that theme sticks around with the songs.
Sure. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
So I was 0 for 2 on my predictions. Uh,
And I'm 1 for 1, baby. I said it would never go back to how intense it was at the beginning.
do you not think the last song had some intensity from Slow
all
Tie?
all the songs have intensity in their own way, man, and that's what kind of made me love this album. So let's get into our review, dude. Overall
All right.
review and rating. You go first.
Man, this was a raw record
Wait,
front
wait,
to
real
back.
quick, real quick. Sorry, real quick.
Okay.
We just finished listening to "Ugly" by Slow Tie. Now we're gonna get into our ratings and reviews. Okay, go ahead.
I thought you just said that.
No, I don't think I did.
You did. Okay, whatever. Well, it was a great album. It was raw throughout, extremely raw, extremely personal, pained.
That's an understatement, man. God damn.
Yeah. It was if I had to put it under one genre, I would say it's post-punk.
For sure. Like some of the next to Idols, like some of the most vulnerable and open emotionally post punk that I've heard. For sure.
Yeah. I it seems like he just got some band off the street to help him record this record. I really wish we had more
me too.
information about that.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know who played on this. Like, I know that he has, Slow Tie has writing credits on every track, and someone named Dan Carey,
It's
I
not
think is his name.
it's not Danny Carey, is it?
No, it's not Danny Carey.
Okay. That would be crazy.
Dan Carey is he's a producer, songwriter, works in London, and he's worked with a lot of like really cool bands. He's kind of been all over the place, but he has like the second writing credit for every song on this record. So it's almost so I don't know how much of it was him, how much of it was Slow Tie, but yeah, I don't know who played on this album.
But yeah, I loved it throughout. I think there were some songs that kind of threw me off. Now looking back, I do wonder what like Sooner was, you know?
Yeah, I know that one. The once we finished the record, it stood out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, and it's weird that it'd be the third song on the record.
Admittedly, the track listing doesn't make a ton of sense on this album.
Not really.
Yeah. Except for the first two songs.
Which looking back, maybe they could spread out more.
I was
instead
thinking
of,
the same thing, but then also it's like if you start out with that opening track and then you go to something, because there's no other songs like that except the first two on the record, really. No other songs match the intensity and like anger in that kind of format, right? Like that
Yeah.
they get loud and fucking, aggressive.
yeah.
You can find plenty of that all on the whole record, but yeah, it's like I feel like if you started out with the opening track and then went to something different, it might be too jarring. So they're like, let's put these two to kind of like, have two songs that at least go together, kind of like how kind of he did with Sooner and Feel Good.
Yeah,
like
right.
those two songs kind of go together a little bit.
Happy and Ugly seem that placing seems very intentional.
Yeah, for sure. Damn. Now that I think about it, maybe it does kind of make sense the way that they organized this album, but it just kind of feels like a lot of stuff that we've heard lately. It kind of feels a little front loaded, a little bit
I don't feel
in terms
that.
of the energy. I don't think in terms of quality of the songs, because I feel like I don't think there's a bad song on this record.
You don't think like Ugly and Falling and What's Funny had a lot of energy on it.
Um, in their own way, you know.
I don't I don't think this is as segmented as a lot of the other records we've seen from a side
Yeah,
A to side B. I don't feel like
yeah.
there's been as stark a difference in this record.
I don't think so either. I think the A side is just as the B side is just as strong as the A. What I'm saying is, it's like front loaded in terms of like Yum and Selfish are so fucking loud and aggressive and like angry, and and that those two songs, like no other song really matches that level of intensity on the rest of the album,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So that's why I kind of feel like it's a little front loaded, but usually what we've been saying about like albums that are front loaded that we've been listening to lately have been more in terms of like you put the first five songs are the good ones
Yeah.
and the last five songs
Right.
are the not as good ones. This is not the case at all. Like the album doesn't lose quality as you go through it at all.
No, no, yeah. This is a cool record. The production throughout is kind of dirty, kind of musty, not very like high quality, you know?
I was
But
gonna say a little minimalist,
but
maybe.
that's something I really enjoyed on this record because I feel like Slow Tie was definitely, I mean, he's definitely the center throughout the entire album, you know?
Yeah, for
It's not
sure.
like we ever yeah, we never really like focus. There's not like a guitar there's no real focus on any particular instrument.
Yeah, the music is such a great accompaniment to what everything Slow Tie's doing
Yeah.
on this album. Like they work so perfectly together. But yeah, Slow Tie is definitely not phoning it in on this album at all.
I think it was a big release for him. A big
Felt
emotional
like it.
release throughout this whole record.
Yeah, it felt like it.
I thought the songs were a great length throughout.
A
Even
great length.
a great length.
It's an interesting note.
Well, I thought like a song like Ugly, where you read the lyrics and you go down, it's like, oh my God, they keep going
Yeah,
and going.
you're like,
But
this is gonna feel like it's never ending.
but it actually worked for me. You know, I
For sure.
I eventually grew to really like the UGLY like kind of chorus of it all.
Yeah, and like we were saying, the kind of like where songs feel like they match, or they kind of have like compadre songs
Yeah,
throughout
yeah,
the record, like Happy and Ugly, like where the choruses are basically him spelling the names of the songs.
yeah,
And something that I mentioned that could be extremely fucking cringe and lame, and he pulls it off really well, and it doesn't hurt that the way that he pronounces H is
H.
Happy. But I agree, man. Every song feels like it was the right length, like to put it in the most basic, right? It's like they all lived and breathed as long as they needed to.
Yeah,
No one overstayed their welcome. And even something like Fuck It Puppet, that was 1 minute and 13 seconds. Thank God it was 1 minute and 13 seconds. Like that song, if that was a 3 minute song, would be draining.
yeah.
It would drain me as a listener. You
Having
know?
this kind of punk mentality of like we're just gonna end the songs where they naturally end, and we're not gonna like try to squeeze all we can out of it.
Yeah, and there was no unnecessary moments. Like there was no wasted moments. Like everything was super deliberate. And while we're saying like the production is minimalist, and I guess you could kind of say that about like the songwriting in terms of the music also, there's still like enough going on that nothing feels like everything felt like really full and like fleshed out, like there was no awkward moment where you were thinking, oh, they didn't have anything for this part and they just kind of wrote something,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. No.
Or they couldn't think of anything, so they just kind of did this. It's just like, no, like there was never, everything seems so deliberate and really thought out.
And all that being said, I'm gonna give this record an 8.5.
Yeah,
Though
I figured it was gonna be higher, to be totally honest.
it's kind of hard for me to pick out anything I don't like about the record as to why it's not getting a higher score. I guess it would be
It's a heavy record, right? So
yeah,
it's while you can maybe I don't want to speak for you, but it's like I can kind of understand where it's like you really enjoyed it, but it's not something that you necessarily want to like revisit often because it's such a heavy album, that it's like, man, this is dark.
Yeah, and yeah, it's an interesting mood to get across the whole record. What do you think though? What are you giving it?
Man, I'm gonna give it. I almost want to match. Like, I think I want to give it an 8.5 also.
Yeah,
Because while I say there wasn't any bad songs because I genuinely don't think there were. Like there were songs that I didn't like as much. And it was mostly Sooner and What's Funny. Like those two songs were just kind of like, whatever. I could skip them and not necessarily feel like I'm missing out on anything. But Slow Tie wanted to make an album that people didn't expect from him, and knowing so little about him, I kind of think he pulled it off. Like I'm not sure if this is that different from anything he's done before, but he said he just felt inspired and he wanted to write. He wanted to challenge himself and do something that was unexpected. And I think the match made in heaven of him and Dan Carey together just made this album fucking pop, dude. It was just so good that everything was great about it.
I'm about it, man. I'm about it.
Yeah.
What?
And during some of the songs, like I fucking called out some of the lyrics that I thought were a little cringe, or some of the moments where I feel like the hip hop didn't necessarily work perfectly with the post punk type of thing that they were trying to do.
Yeah.
But man, the album as a whole is just such a fucking, it's just such a work of art. It's just a piece of art. And it feels like something that it does feel a little like, how much can you really break down something like this? Like in terms of just your own personal tastes. Like
Right,
coming
yeah.
from this from an objective perspective, you're like, this was fucking really good. Like from a songwriting perspective, a production, like everything about it, I'm just like, they completely nailed it. So it's like my 8.5 is 100% subjective. Of just, again, it's something that I feel like I love. Feel Good, I love Yum and Selfish. Falling was good. Like 25% Club was a great closer. Like there's a lot of songs on here that I genuinely really loved that I'm like, I have to be in a certain mood to listen to this and not let it get to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it, man. I loved all the things that they mixed in. Sooner was just such a weird, awkward track to me. That's the only like
Yeah.
really one that I didn't really understand what they were trying to do.
Yeah. Kind of just a weird sore thumb, as you called it, throughout the track list. But what are some of your sore thumbs in good ways?
In the best of ways.
In the best of ways.
Yeah, man. Some of my honorable mentions before I mention my two favorites, I would say are Never Again, Bucket Puppet, Selfish. I mean, there's a lot on here, man. Falling, Ugly, Happy, 25% Club, like all those are just like I loved all those songs. But one of my favorite songs has got to be the opener, Yum.
Yep, I feel the same way. That's one of mine as well.
Yeah, dude, we were both like, there's not a lot. I don't think it's often that me and you like talk while we're listening to the songs. Like sometimes we're just both really quiet and just paying attention. But there was multiple times during Yum that we were like, dude, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I try not to like give you any spoilies of like how I feel about the song while we're listening to it sometimes. And this one, like neither of us could like really hold back and just say like, this is such a badass fucking song, despite how fucking intense and angry it is.
I think because of how intense and angry it is, coming right out the gate,
dude,
it reminded me a lot of Death Grips.
Totally. It reminded me a lot of Idols.
Yeah, they had these distorted drums throughout the whole thing. I love the chorus, where it's like more coke, more weed, more eats, more trips.
It's a really dark song, like where he's clearly struggling with like drugs and vices, and he's making really bad decisions, and it's all like angry and stressed out and frustrated, and
I think
the backing music is fucking perfect for it. It's like we've called it like I think it's a genre now of John Wick gunfight scenes music.
Yeah, sure.
That's
That
a
makes
full-on
sense.
genre now, and I feel like that's what the music on this song is. It's like rave music that's like super fucking intense and angry.
And I think I'd be remiss to not also like call out Yeezus when listening to
Totally.
this,
Yeah, totally.
you know? Like that,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, what's the fucking one that got huge on uses that he was like 300 Trojans?
No, no, no. It's like
Yeah.
um
What is that song?
I don't know, man.
Totally, but you nailed it. Like Yum is like that same fucking intense
Yeah,
energy, but a little more like
it's like On Site
European.
is kind of what it reminds me of.
Okay. Yeah, man. It's yeah, that's a great comparison. Would have been, man. Now I want to hear fucking Rick Rubin and Slow Tie, like see what they would do together. Because Rubin, like Rick Rubin's the producer of Yeezus.
Yeah, man. Sure, whatever.
Rubin has done some of the most like iconic music of the last like 30, 40 years. He's behind some of the most iconic albums like Toxicity, I think the Black Jay-Z's Black album,
Oh,
or the Blueprint or something, one of those. Yeezus.
he's also
He did
behind one of my favorite sandwiches.
oh yeah. I mean, he's known for sauerkraut,
Yeah, right.
he came up with the Thousand Island dressing sauerkraut combination.
Right. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that started his career.
Dude, iconic.
So iconic, dude.
So iconic. What are some of your honorable mentions?
My honorees are gonna be Selfish, Ugly,
So you, yeah. Keep going, keep going.
and What's Funny.
Oh, you liked What's Funny.
I liked it. I liked that old
Okay.
punk feel of What's Funny. I liked the chorus on UGLY. It reminded me a lot of Creep and Dinosaur Jr. with its like open
Yes.
guitars.
Ugly was we were literally singing Creep while we were listening to Ugly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Maybe a little too close, but Selfish.
We were doing that. Yeah, we were singing that perfectly to Ugly, so it's the exact same chords.
But my second nug
Oh my
is
god, are we
gonna
gonna match?
my second catch.
Oh my god, are we gonna match? Are we gonna match?
Not at all. It's Falling, baby.
Oh yeah, you're right. We did not match. Falling's a great song though.
I like it. It's even with all the raw songs on this record, this one seems like, I mean, it almost seems like he's drunk doing this or on something, which he very, very well could have been, you know?
I think you said, I don't know if it was this song, but I think you said that it sounds like he's just laying on the floor of the studio, just like
Yeah, just kind of
drunk
like,
and singing into the microphone.
yeah, just like,
Yeah, I totally
right
hear
in
that.
there, just screaming.
Like, you ever feel like falling? Like at the beginning, and then he's like,
He
starts yelling.
Like falling.
yeah, he gets really like intense. And this is one of those like, this is one of the ones that we were trying to figure out like what 90s band this kind of reminded us of, right? Like, was it this song or was it the song before that?
I think you are talking about Happy.
Oh, where I was saying it kind of sounds like Nirvana.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But I love the soundscape on this one. The further it gets into the song, like the louder and more like
Yeah.
claustrophobic it kind of gets.
That's what kind of sold me on this song and Ugly. Was like at first I'm like, I don't know, but it kept getting more and more intense
Yeah.
as it was going, and they kept layering things. I'm just like, fuck, this is getting too good to, I can't ignore it anymore. I can't fight it.
Almost almost reminded me of Daughters a little bit.
I don't listen to them.
Just a very like also very cynical, heavy, like we're all gonna die and get fucked kind of thing, you know?
What's the point?
What's the fucking point?
Yeah. But it's good. I mean, if you want to, like, how we've been saying that this whole album kind of captures the mood really well, like whatever mood they were trying to go for, Falling captures that mood perfectly of just this kind of helpless feeling, but it's almost like romantic sounding.
I don't know about that.
I kind of see this as like a romantic song about like giving up.
And that's fucking
dark.
weird for
It's dark, dude.
Yeah. But what's your second nug?
Mine might surprise you, man, because I really liked the intensity on the album. Obviously, like that's what is really like stuck with me. But one of my songs, one of my favorites, is probably one of the least intense songs on the record, and it's Feel Good.
Really?
I think the reason Feel Good landed on me so hard is because you were like, oh, this is a Gorillaz song. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like you're totally right. And uh, it sounded like the better version of Sooner that came before it, and Sooner was kind of this like a little too poppy, a little too radio friendly, happy
Yeah.
sounding.
Well,
You said like 70s like pop, you
I
know?
believe at this point is when you were thinking like, oh, this is kind of manic.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like especially hearing after Feel Good, I was just like, dude, this is like how's he going from Yum and Selfish to this? I'm just like, this sounds like a dude who's just like going through just 180s of emotion, just these wild swings of emotion where
Yeah.
everything is terrible or everything's amazing.
Yeah.
And Feel Good just has this really dancey, like parquet courts kind of driving post punk
Yeah.
beat going to it. And it could be really repetitive, but it's just there's something about it. I'm like, it sounds like a Gorillaz song. It's very fun, despite being like in a minor key, and kind of feels like you were saying too, like he's saying it feels so good, but you're almost thinking like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah, it's kind of like, ooh, you're not okay, are
Yeah,
you?
like you're not okay.
Ugh.
You're feeling a little too good. Kind of
And
one of
that's-
those things.
And that's not good for me.
Yeah, literally talking about it feels so good that it like hurts his insides. I'm like, man, he is experiencing very strong emotions. So yeah, Feel Good, man. I loved it.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. We hope
We did it.
We hope you enjoyed our review of the record. Even if you didn't
Truly.
enjoy the record, you should just
Yeah.
like listen to more of our episodes and stuff. You know, we talk
Yeah.
about Fresh Drops, which are the latest albums. We talk about we have these little chit chats where we talk about a music related topic or
Yeah.
issue or rant that needs
We
to be
recently-
had.
Recently did one about what our favorite types of live music is to see. And we did one about songs that make us cry. And both of those were
Yeah.
very fun conversations, man.
And soon enough, we are going to give a discography tier list on who. That remains a mystery.
Yeah. Who else would it be though, really?
Y'all might be able to guess. Y'all might be able to guess.
You'd probably be able to guess. But yeah, man. Chit chats, the fresh drops. We have so many episodes of old albums that we wanted to bring to the podcast and talk about, which
Yeah.
is kind of what we've been doing for a long time up until recently. And we have a bunch of those episodes in the back pocket too. So we're gonna be dropping some like kind of random content here and there, talking about older albums that we just love and wanted an excuse to talk about. But yeah, man, go to our Instagram at EBPcast if you want to follow us on there. Subscribe to our YouTube. We're uploading every single week. We have a ton of old episodes you can go listen to. A ton of episodes where we actually have music on it now as well. So if you want to listen to those, go to Spotify and just search Earbuds Podcast. Yeah, man, we're doing a lot. Stick around. There's going to be a lot more coming. Let us know what albums you guys want us to listen to that are coming out soon. Let us know if you guys have any ideas on chit chats that you want us to, just music related shit you want us to share our fucking nonsensical thoughts on.
That's a good way to describe it.
I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But thanks guys so much for listening and watching, and we love you. And I'm going to do the Ash thing.
Gonna get fucking ham in the paint, man. Gonna have the Av, bruv.
Oh, this is getting inappropriate. Very quick.
When I can't make fun of British people now. Oh, I can't
No.
make fun of the Brits now.
Hey, trigger warning for any bibliophiles, or what is it called? Anglophiles.
Anglophiles.
Yeah. It sounds like just people who are really obsessed with white people, but I think it means that people who are obsessed with England.
Which is
I think.
weird.
It is weird. It's like Francophiles. Anyway, let us know what y'all thought of this record. Tell us your favorite songs, and stick around for next week's episode. Ash, this was a good.
Lucas, this was good.
I'm going to try and stop the recording without looking at you.
Well, that should be pretty easy.
I cheated a little bit.
Yeah, I saw.
All right, fuck it. I can't do it.